Hyun-woo Park stood before the massive crystal doors of the council chamber and felt his heart race. Behind those doors waited representatives from 47 different species, beings from across thousands of star systems. Today, humanity would officially ask to join them. Today, everything would change. He smoothed his uniform one last time. The blue and white colors of Earth looked bright against the dark metal walls of Council Prime Station. Around him, dozens of alien species moved through the corridors. Some walked on two legs like humans. Others floated, slithered, or moved in ways he could not quite understand. The air smelled strange, like ozone mixed with something sweet he could not name. The doors opened silently. The chamber beyond took his breath away. It stretched upward. For hundreds of meters, with balconies and platforms at different levels, thousands of aliens filled the space, their bodies creating a rainbow of colors and shapes. At the center, a raised platform held the council leaders. Hyun-woo walked forward. His footsteps echoed in the sudden silence. Every eye, and many things that were not quite eyes, turned toward him. He reached the center platform and bowed respectfully. Speaker Vrenthal rose from the highest seat. The speaker looked like living crystal, light refracting through a body that seemed both solid and transparent. When it spoke, the voice came from everywhere at once. "Welcome, human," Vrenthal said. The translator in Hyun-woo's ear turned the alien sounds into words he could understand. "You come from Earth, a young world that has just learned to travel between stars. You wish to join our council?" "Yes, Speaker," Hyun-woo replied. "Humanity has dreamed of this moment since we first looked up at the stars. We bring our knowledge, our friendship, and our desire to learn from the great civilizations gathered here." A sound like wind chimes filled the chamber. Hyun-woo realized it was laughter. Frenthal's crystalline face seemed to shift into something that might have been a smile. "How eager you are," the speaker said. "How young." "Very well. The Council grants Earth provisional membership. You will learn your place among us. You will contribute as your limited abilities allow. In time, perhaps you will understand the great responsibility of being part of something larger than yourselves." The words should have been welcoming, but something in the tone made Hyun-woo pause. He pushed the feeling aside. This was what humanity had worked toward for decades. He bowed again, deeper this time. "Thank you, Speaker. Humanity is honored." 2 weeks later, Dr. Minji Kang stepped off the transport shuttle at Council Prime's medical district. She carried 3 data tablets filled with human medical research. Her team had spent 5 years preparing this presentation. They had cures for diseases that plagued several council species. They had new surgical techniques. They had so much to offer. The council medical board met her in a small room, not the grand amphitheater she had expected. 5 aliens sat behind a curved desk. They looked bored before she even began. Minji ignored her nervousness and started her presentation. She showed them how human gene therapy could cure a degenerative disease that affected the Kelmorian people. She explained a new method for treating radiation damage that could save thousands of lives in the mining colonies. She demonstrated a breakthrough in regenerative medicine. The board members looked at their own tablets while she spoke. One seemed to be sleeping. When she finished, the lead scientist, a creature with too many arms and eyes that glowed faintly in the dim light, simply nodded. "We will review this," it said. "Leave your data with us." "But there are lives we could save right now," Minji protested. "If you implement these treatments, we will review it," the alien repeated, firmer this time. "The council has protocols. You are dismissed." Minji left the data and walked out. In the corridor, she leaned against the wall and closed her eyes. 5 years of work, dismissed in 20 minutes. Engineer Bo-Ra Lim sat in the maintenance tunnel beneath Council Prime's main power grid and stared at the problem. The station's power distribution system was failing. Energy surges had damaged equipment across 3 districts. The council engineers had been working on it for 2 weeks with no solution. Bo-Ra had been assigned to help. They gave her the worst job, crawling through narrow tunnels to replace burnt-out circuits. But while she worked, she saw the real problem. The power grid used an old design that created feedback loops. The council engineers were treating symptoms, not the cause. She spent 3 days building a new routing system using spare parts and a human-designed algorithm. When she installed it, the power fluctuations stopped immediately. The system ran smoother than it had in years. Bora reported her solution to the chief engineer, a being that looked like a walking tree with bark-covered limbs. "The system is stable now," she explained. "I redesigned the power routing to eliminate the feedback problem. Here are the specifications if you need to replicate it in other stations." The chief engineer looked at her work. "This is acceptable," it said. "You may return to your assigned duties." That was all. No thanks. No acknowledgement that she had solved in days what they could not solve in weeks. Bora gathered her tools and left. Later, she heard the chief engineer presenting the solution to the station commander as his own innovation. Admiral Dae-Hyun Choi reviewed the reports from Council Space in his office aboard Earth's orbital defense station. 3 months since humanity joined the Council. 3 months of his people being given the worst assignments, ignored, dismissed, and underestimated. He tapped his comm unit. Ambassador Park's face appeared on the screen. "Ambassador, I need to speak with you about our position in the Council." Hyun-woo looked tired. "Admiral, I know what you're going to say, but we need to give this time. It's only been 3 months. 3 months of being treated like servants," Dae-Hyun said. "Our best scientists ignored. Our engineers' work stolen. Our diplomats patronized. This is not partnership. I know it's difficult. It's more than difficult. It's exploitation. I've seen this before, Ambassador. I was a student of history before I was a soldier. This is what empires do to colonies. They take resources and give nothing back." Hyun-woo was quiet for a moment. Finally, he said, "I will speak to Speaker Vrenthal. We will make our concerns known." "Do that," Dae-Hyun said. "But Ambassador, I suggest you also start thinking about what we do if nothing changes, because I have a feeling nothing will." That evening, Hyun-woo stood in his quarters on Council Prime and looked out at the stars. Somewhere out there was Earth, home to 8 billion humans who believed their representative was building a better future. He thought about the meeting with Vrenthal earlier that day. He had raised concerns about how humans were being treated. The speaker had listened with that strange crystalline face showing nothing. "You must understand," Vrenthal had said, "that the Council has existed for thousands of years. We have protocols, traditions, and hierarchies that maintain order across countless worlds. New members always start at the bottom. It is how things work. In time, if your species proves worthy, you will rise." "How much time?" Hyun-woo had asked. "That depends entirely on you," the speaker had replied. Now looking at the stars, Hyun-woo wondered if Admiral Choi was right. He had come here with such hope. He had believed that humanity would find friends among the stars, partners in building something great. Instead, they had found a hierarchy that valued tradition over merit, age over innovation, and pride over progress. But it had only been 3 months. Things could change. They had to change. Behind him, somewhere in the bowels of the station, human workers were probably fixing another problem that council engineers could not solve. And tomorrow someone else would take credit for their work. Hyun-woo turned away from the window and sat down to write his report to Earth. He told them about the successful integration, about the opportunities ahead, about the bright future of human council cooperation. He did not tell them about his doubts. He did not tell them that every day he felt less like a diplomat and more like a supplicant. He did not tell them that he was beginning to wonder if humanity had made a terrible mistake. Not yet. He would give it time. He would try harder. He would make this work. He had to. 5 years had passed since humanity joined the Galactic Council. Dr. Minji Kang no longer felt the excitement she once had when boarding shuttles to Council Prime. Now she felt tired, frustrated, and increasingly angry. The plague had started on Kelmora 3, the largest colony world of Trade Minister Kelmora's people. A virus mutated by industrial chemicals was killing thousands. The Kelmorian doctors could not stop it. The Council Medical Board was helpless, so they called Minji. She arrived with her team of human researchers. They worked for 16 days straight, sleeping in shifts, analyzing samples, testing compounds. Minji barely ate. Her eyes burned from staring at screens. But on the 17th day, they found it. A treatment combining human gene therapy with a synthetic protein that attacked the virus without harming Kelmorian cells. They produced the cure. They distributed it across the colony. Within a week, new infections dropped to 0. Within 2 weeks, patients were recovering. They had saved a world. Minji stood in the medical center watching Kelmorian children playing in the corridors healthy again. She felt proud. She felt useful. Finally, their work was being recognized. Then she saw the news broadcast. Trade Minister Kelmora stood before cameras, his amphibious features arranged in what passed for a smile among his people. I am pleased to announce that Kelmorian medical science has defeated the plague, he said. Our researchers worked tirelessly to develop a cure. This shows the strength and ingenuity of our people. We thank the Council for their support during this crisis. Not one word about humans, not one mention of Minji or her team. She watched the broadcast 3 times, hoping she had misunderstood. But no, they were erasing her work, erasing human contribution as if they had never been there. One of her team members, a young researcher named Ji-Wan, stood beside her. Doctor, should we say something? Should we correct this? Minji thought about it. She thought about the 5 years of having her work dismissed, stolen, or ignored. She thought about how many times she had spoken up and how little it had changed. No, she said quietly, save your energy. They will not listen. Engineer Bora Lim sat in a council courtroom watching her life's work being stolen in broad daylight. The jump drive. She had spent 3 years developing it. The old council drives were slow, inefficient, and broke down constantly. Bora had redesigned the core principles, creating a drive that cut travel time by 40% while using less energy. It was revolutionary. She had submitted her design to the council patent office following every protocol. But now, 6 months later, she sat in court because a Vrenthalian corporation claimed they had developed the technology first. The corporation's lawyers presented documents dated 3 months before Bora's submission. They showed designs that looked remarkably similar to hers. They had witnesses who swore the corporation had been working on this technology for years. Bora's lawyer, a human named Tai Min, tried to argue. He showed how the corporation's previous work had been completely different. He demonstrated that their designs could not possibly work without the specific innovations Bora had created. He proved the timeline was impossible. The judge, an ancient being covered in scales that shifted colors, listened with closed eyes. When Taemin finished, the judge opened one eye. The council has great respect for all member species, the judge said, but we must protect established corporations from false claims. The Vrenthalian Corporation has existed for 4,000 years. They have contributed immeasurably to council technology. To suggest they would steal from a species that joined the council merely 5 years ago is absurd. The judge ruled against her. The patent went to the corporation. Bora would receive nothing. Not credit, not compensation, nothing. Outside the courtroom, Taemin put a hand on her shoulder. I'm sorry, Bora. The system is rigged against us, I know, she said. She looked up at the massive towers of Council Prime, built on thousands of years of accumulated knowledge and technology. How much of it, she wondered, had been stolen from other young species who had believed in the dream of cooperation. Ambassador Hyan Woo Park walked through the council gardens with Speaker Vrenthal. It was supposed to be a casual meeting, a chance to discuss humanity's growing concerns in a relaxed setting. But Hyan Woo no longer believed in casual meetings with the council leadership. Speaker, we need to discuss several troubling incidents, Hyan Woo began. The plague cure on Kelmora 3, the jump drive patent, the mining rights dispute in the Karis sector. In each case, human contributions were either ignored or stolen. Vrenthal's crystalline form caught the light from the artificial sun above. Ambassador, you are young. Your species is young. You do not understand how the council works, then help me understand. Explain to me how it is fair that Dr. Kang saves an entire world and receives no acknowledgement. Explain how Engineer Lim's invention can be stolen by a corporation with the blessing of council courts. You speak of fairness as if it is simple, the speaker said. But the council maintains order across thousands of worlds. We cannot allow every new species to disrupt established systems. Trade Minister Kelmora needed to show strength to his people after the plague. The Vrenthalian Corporation needed to maintain its reputation. These things matter in human dignity? Does that matter? Vrenthal stopped walking, the crystalline being turned to face Hyun-woo directly. You should be grateful, the speaker said, and there was something cold in that voice. Grateful that we allow you to contribute at all. Grateful that we share our knowledge with you. Grateful that we permit you to live among civilizations that are thousands of years older than yours. Do you know how many species have petitioned to join the council? Hundreds. We chose to accept you. Perhaps we were too generous. Hyun-woo felt something break inside him. It was the last small piece of hope he had been holding on to. The belief that maybe, somehow, this could work. I see, he said quietly. Thank you for your honesty, speaker. He walked away from the gardens. Behind him, Vrenthal called out something about understanding his place, about patience, about time. Hyun-woo did not look back. That night, Hyun-woo sent an encrypted message to Earth. It reached Admiral Dae-hyun Choi in his office aboard the defense station. You were right, the message said. This is not partnership. This is not cooperation. This is exploitation, plain and simple. I need you to start preparing contingency plans quietly. Tell no one. But be ready. Dae-hyun read the message twice. Then he deleted it and began making calls to shipyard commanders, to colony governors, to the heads of research facilities. The calls were brief, coded, careful. They all said the same thing. Be ready to leave. Be ready to stand alone. In a small office in the xenobiology wing, a researcher named Pixtel sat at her workstation. She was an insectoid being, small even by the standards of her species, with compound eyes that saw in spectrums humans could not imagine. She had been compiling data for 2 years. Every human contribution to council science, every innovation, every solution to problems that had stumped council researchers for decades. The list was long and growing. She formatted it into a research paper. She titled it simply, An Analysis of Terran Contributions to Council Advancement, 27/2192. She submitted it to the Council Scientific Journal. 3 days later, she received a message from the journal editor. Her paper had been rejected. Too controversial. Not enough supporting evidence. Not appropriate for publication at this time. Pixtel saved the paper to a secure drive. She had a feeling that someday someone would want to see it. Someday the truth would matter. Dr. Minji Kang sat in her quarters and composed a message to Earth. She had been drafting it in her head for weeks, but now she finally put it into words. To whoever reads this in the archives someday, we came here with hope. We believed that joining the council would make us part of something greater. We believed that our contributions would be valued, that our friendship would be welcomed, that our innovations would be celebrated. We were wrong. We are not partners here. We are not friends. We are tools to be used and discarded. We are sources of free labor and stolen ideas. We are servants in everything but name. I do not know what will happen next. I do not know if we will stay or leave. But I know this. We deserve better. Humanity deserves better. And one way or another we will get it. She encrypted the message and sent it to Earth's historical archives marked for release in 50 years. Then she closed her computer and stared out at the stars. Somewhere out there, other humans were making the same realization she had. The dream was dying. The question now was what they would do about it. The alarm started at 0400 hours station time. Admiral Dae-hyun Choi was already awake, reviewing defense reports when the emergency broadcast came through. Unknown hostile fleet entering council space. Multiple systems under attack. All military forces respond immediately. Dae-hyun pulled up the tactical display. His blood went cold. 40 enemy ships, maybe more, tearing through the outer colonies. Advanced weapons. Fast ships. The council defense forces were being cut to pieces. His comm officer patched through a call from Council Military Command. General Kaxthun appeared on screen, the warrior's face showing damage from recent combat. Admiral Choi, we require human assistance immediately. Our forces are insufficient. We are losing badly. Dae-hyun wanted to say no. He wanted to remind Kaxthun of the 8 years of dismissal, theft, and contempt. He wanted to ask where the Council's gratitude was now. But people were dying. Billions of lives hung in the balance. His personal feelings did not matter when measured against that. Earth fleet is on the way, he said. Hold your position. We will be there in 6 hours. The Earth Defense Fleet emerged from jump space directly into the battle zone. 15 human warships against an enemy that had crushed 40 Council vessels. The tactical situation looked impossible. Admiral Choi stood on the bridge of the flagship studying the enemy formation. The aliens fought in tight clusters, using overwhelming firepower to smash through Council defenses. Standard military doctrine, very effective against conventional tactics. But humans did not fight conventionally. All ships, he ordered. Split formation. Pattern Delta 7. Use the debris field for cover. Target their command ship first, then work outward. The human ships scattered, moving independently through the wreckage of destroyed Council vessels. The enemy tried to track them, but human ships were faster, more maneuverable. They did not try to match the enemy's firepower. Instead, they used speed and precision. The first human missiles hit the enemy command ship's shield generators. The second wave targeted their weapon systems. The third wave, fired from 3 different angles simultaneously, tore through the hull. The enemy formation began to break apart. Without their command ship, they lost coordination. Human vessels moved through them like sharks, striking weak points, avoiding direct confrontation, always moving. In 40 minutes, it was over. The enemy fleet retreated in disarray. Human casualties, 2 ships damaged, no losses. Enemy casualties, 15 ships destroyed, 20 crippled. General Caxton's voice came over the comm channel. Admiral Choi, that was extraordinary. How did you defeat them so quickly? We did not try to fight them the way they wanted to be fought. Dae-hyun replied. We used tactics they did not expect. Speed over strength, precision over power. Will you share these tactics with Council forces? Dae-hyun looked at his tactical officer and saw the same bitter thought reflected there. They would share. The Council would take credit. Nothing would change, of course, he said. We will provide complete tactical data. 2 weeks later, Ambassador Hyun-woo Park stood in the Council chamber. He had been summoned for an emergency session. He assumed it was to discuss the battle, perhaps to receive thanks for saving billions of lives. He was wrong. Speaker Vrenthal addressed the assembled Council. The recent conflict has revealed troubling facts about human military capability. Their weapons are more advanced than we realized. Their tactics are dangerously effective. Their fleet, though small, demonstrated the ability to defeat forces much larger than itself. Trade Minister Kelmora stood, his amphibious features grave. This represents a threat to Council security. If humans can defeat our enemies so easily, what stops them from using this power against us? Hyun-woo felt his hands clench into fists. They were afraid. They had called for help, humans had saved them, and now they were afraid. The Council proposes new regulations, Vrenthal continued. Human military vessels will be limited in number and capability. Human weapon technology must be shared with Council oversight. Human tactical doctrine must be reviewed and approved by Council military authorities. Hyun-woo stood slowly. His voice when he spoke was very quiet, very controlled. Let me make sure I understand this correctly. You called us for help, we came. We saved your worlds, your people, your civilization, and your response is to demand we give up our ability to defend ourselves? It is for the greater good, Kelmora said. For Council security. No, Hyun-woo said. The word echoed in the vast chamber. No, we will not disarm. No, we will not surrender our technology. No, we will not submit to your authority over our military. You are a provisional member of this Council, Vrenthal said, and there was steel in that crystalline voice. You do not have the authority to refuse. Hyun-woo smiled, and it was not a pleasant expression. Then let me make this very clear. I have served as Earth's ambassador to this Council for 8 years. 8 years of watching my people dismissed, exploited, and robbed. 8 years of having our contributions stolen and our innovations claimed by others. 8 years of being treated as servants instead of partners. He walked toward the center platform, his footsteps loud in the silence. We saved Dr. Kang's plague cure was credited to Kelmorian scientists. We innovated. Engineer Lim's jump drive was stolen by Vrenthalian corporations. We fought and bled to protect your worlds, and you respond with fear and demands for submission. The chamber was absolutely silent. I am recalling all Earth diplomatic staff effective immediately. We are withdrawing from Council space. We are done. You cannot do this, Vrenthal said. But there was uncertainty in the speaker's voice now. Watch us, Hyun-woo said. He turned and walked out of the chamber. Behind him, the Council erupted into chaos. The message reached every human in Council space within an hour. Return to human territory. Bring everything. Leave nothing behind. Dr. Minji Kang stood in her laboratory on Council Prime and looked at 8 years of research. She could take the physical samples, the equipment, the notes, but the real value was in the knowledge, and that was in her head. She opened her computer and began deleting files. Every piece of research, every breakthrough, every innovation, she watched 8 years of work disappear, and she did not hesitate. They would not steal from her again. Engineer Bo-Ra Lim was more thorough. She had helped design or repair half the critical systems on Council Prime. She knew exactly which ones depended on human innovation. She coded a degradation program into each one. It would take months to manifest, but eventually, they would all fail. Let them figure it out themselves, she thought. Let them learn what they lost. 3 months later, the last human ship left Council space. Thousands of scientists, engineers, doctors, traders, and diplomats, all going home. President Tae-Yang Kim addressed the galaxy from Earth. Her message was brief and clear. We came to the Galactic Council in friendship. We offered our knowledge, our innovation, and our cooperation. We received exploitation, theft, and contempt. When we saved Council worlds from destruction, we were met with fear and demands for submission. Humanity is leaving Council space. We will maintain our borders. We will defend our territory, but we will no longer participate in Council affairs. We will no longer offer our assistance. We will no longer trust in galactic cooperation. To those species who treated us with respect, we bear no ill will. To those who stole from us and dismissed us, we say this: you had our friendship. You threw it away. You will not get another chance. The broadcast ended. Across human space, ships powered up defensive systems. Borders closed. Silence fell. Admiral Dae-Hyun Choi stood on the bridge of his flagship at the edge of human space. His first officer, Commander Yu Jin, stood beside him. Do you think they will realize what they lost, Commander? Yu Jin looked at the stars of Council space, now forbidden territory. Eventually, Admiral. When their systems fail, when their enemies return, when they face problems they cannot solve, then they will understand. Will it be too late by then? For them? Yu Jin smiled slightly. Probably. For us? We will be fine. We always have been. Dae-Hyun nodded. That was the truth of it. Humanity had survived and thrived long before they met the Council. They would do so again, and this time they would do it on their own terms. Behind them, the human border closed. Ahead of them, human space opened up with infinite possibility. They had walked away quietly, and in that quiet departure, they had made a statement louder than any threat. They did not need the Council. But the Council, whether they knew it yet or not, had needed them very badly indeed. 5 years after the humans left, the first jump drive failed catastrophically. The transport ship was carrying medical supplies to a colony world. The drive simply stopped working mid-jump. The ship was stranded in deep space for 6 weeks before rescue arrived. 3 people died waiting. Council engineers examined the drive. They found the problem: a degradation in the core systems. They tried to fix it using standard procedures. Nothing worked. They tried to reverse engineer the human improvements. They failed. Then a second drive failed. Then a third. Then dozens. Within 3 months, 40% of Council ships were using old slow drives. Travel times doubled. Trade routes became inefficient. Colonies that depended on regular supply runs went hungry. Speaker Vrenthal called an emergency meeting of the Council's top engineers. Why can we not fix this? Why can we not replicate what the humans did? The chief engineer, the same one who had taken credit for Bo-Ra Lim's work years ago, stood before the Council and admitted the truth. We do not understand the underlying principles. We only knew how to use what the humans built. We never learned how they built it. Vrenthal's crystalline form seemed to dim. Then find someone who does understand. Hire consultants. Pay whatever it takes. The engineer looked uncomfortable. The only beings who truly understood this technology were the humans who designed it, and they are gone. On Kelmora 3, the plague returned. It was a different strain this time, but just as deadly. Trade Minister Kelmora stood in the same medical center where Dr. Minji Kang had worked 5 years earlier, and watched people die. The Kelmorian doctors tried everything. They used the cure that had worked before. It did not work on this new strain. They tried to adapt it. They could not. They tried to develop a new treatment using human methods. They did not understand the methods well enough. Kelmora sent a message to human space. It was brief, almost desperate. "We need medical assistance. Please respond." The message reached Earth's communication network. It was logged, filed, and ignored. No response came. Kelmora sent another message, then another, then a formal diplomatic request, then a plea. All went unanswered. The plague spread. Tens of thousands died. Kelmora stood at a mass funeral and thought about the broadcast where he had claimed Kelmorian scientists had cured the first plague. He thought about Dr. Kang, whose name he had never mentioned. He thought about the price of pride. The unknown aliens returned. Their fleet was larger this time, better organized. They struck at 3 council systems simultaneously. General Caxthun led the defense personally, commanding the council's finest warriors. The battle lasted 4 hours. Council forces fought bravely, but they fought using conventional tactics. Formation warfare, direct engagements, strength against strength. It was how they had always fought. The enemy tore them apart. Without human tactical innovation, without the speed and precision that Admiral Choi's fleet had demonstrated, the Council forces were simply outmatched. They lost 12 ships in the first hour. By the end, they had lost 30. Caxthun's own ship was crippled. He stood on a burning bridge watching his crew die around him, and thought about the humans who had saved them once before. He thought about how the Council had responded to that salvation with fear and demands. He thought about what idiots they had all been. His species' homeworld was in the second wave of attacks. The enemy hit it hard. Without adequate defense, without the tactical advantages humans had provided, the world fell. His people were scattered, refugees now, nearly extinct. Caxthun sent a message toward human space. It was not a request for help. It was simply a statement. "You were right. We were fools. We are paying the price now. I am sorry." Like all the other messages sent to human space, it went unanswered. Scholar Pixtel sat in her small office and looked at the research paper she had written years ago. An analysis of Terran contributions to Council advancement, the paper that had been rejected as too controversial. She updated it now with new data, the failure rates of systems that humans had maintained, the problems that had emerged since their departure, the crises that would not have happened if humans were still here. The numbers were damning. Council technological advancement had dropped by 60%. Medical breakthroughs had essentially stopped. Infrastructure failures had increased by 300%. Economic productivity was down 40% across all member species. She published the paper to the public networks. This time, no one could reject it. The evidence was too clear. The Council had not just lost human contributions. They had been dependent on them in ways they never realized. The paper went viral across Council space. Beings from dozens of species read it and understood finally what had been lost. Speaker Vrenthal stood alone in the Council chamber. The vast space felt empty now even when full. The member species were angry, frustrated, afraid. Their worlds were suffering. Their people were dying. And it was all because the Council had been too proud to see what was right in front of them. Vrenthal accessed the holographic records. Video of the humans during their time with the Council. Ambassador Park speaking earnestly about cooperation. Dr. Kang presenting medical advances. Engineer Lim solving impossible problems. Admiral Choi saving Council worlds. And in every recording, the same pattern. Humans contributing. Council members dismissing. Humans innovating. Council leaders taking credit. Humans saving lives. Council politicians showing fear. Vrenthal had been there for all of it. Had participated in all of it, had led much of it. The weight of that realization settled onto crystalline shoulders. They had not needed humanity, the Council had told themselves. Humanity was young, inexperienced, unsophisticated. What could they offer that ancient civilizations could not? Everything, it turned out. They had offered everything, and the Council had thrown it away. Behind the borders of human space, humanity thrived, free from Council bureaucracy, free from exploitation, free from the need to constantly prove themselves. They expanded rapidly. New colonies were established. New technologies were developed. Human science advanced beyond what it had achieved in Council space. Without the Council taking credit for their work, Human innovators received recognition and resources. Progress accelerated. Ambassador Hyan-Woo Park, now serving as Earth's Secretary of Interstellar Affairs, stood in his office reviewing reports. Colony populations growing. Industrial output increasing. Scientific breakthroughs monthly. Military strength expanding. His assistant, a young woman named Ji-won, who had once worked with Dr. Kang, entered with another message from Council Space. "The 5th this month, they want to talk," she said. "Speaker Vrenthal is asking for a meeting. Personally." Hyun-woo looked at the message. The language was different from before. No demands. No condescension. Just a simple request. "Please, we need to speak." "What do you think we should do?" Ji-won asked. Hyun-woo thought about the 8 years he had spent trying to make the council relationship work. He thought about all the times he had been dismissed, patronized, and ignored. He thought about the moment when Speaker Vrenthal had told him to be grateful for the opportunity to be exploited. He thought about all of that. Then he looked at the reports on his desk. People dying from plagues, ships stranded in space, worlds under attack. The council was suffering. And suffering taught lessons that words could not. "Not yet," he said. "They are learning. But they have not learned enough." Delete the message. Ji-won nodded and left. Hyun-woo turned back to the window, looking out at Earth below. Beautiful, peaceful, thriving. The council had walked all over humanity for 8 years. They had taken and given nothing back. Now they were facing the consequences. Now they understood what they had lost, and humanity would decide in its own time whether that understanding was enough. 10 years after the humans left, the Galactic Council convened its most important session in 1,000 years. The chamber was full, but the mood was grim. Economic charts showing decade-long decline filled the holographic displays. Military reports detailed losses and failed defenses. Medical statistics documented plagues they could not cure. Speaker Vrenthal stood at the center platform and looked at the assembled representatives. Some were the same beings who had dismissed humanity years ago. Others were new, replacing leaders who had fallen from power during the crisis years. All of them knew why they were here. "We must speak honestly today," Vrenthal began. "We must face what we have done and what it has cost us. 10 years ago, humanity left the council. We told ourselves it did not matter. We told ourselves we would manage without them. We were catastrophically wrong." Trade Minister Kelmora stood, his amphibious features showing age and grief. The economic numbers speak for themselves. Without human traders, our supply chains collapsed. Without human engineers, our infrastructure fails constantly. My own world suffered a plague that humans could have cured. They did not come because I claimed credit for their previous cure. Thousands died because of my pride. His voice broke slightly. I stood at their funerals and knew it was my fault. I had a choice between honesty and pride. I chose pride. My people paid the price. General Cax Thun rose next. His species had been devastated by the alien attacks, scattered as refugees across council space. My people are nearly extinct because I could not defend them. We fought bravely, but we fought stupidly. The humans showed us better tactics. We dismissed them out of fear. When the enemy returned, we had forgotten everything they taught us. My homeworld burned because we were too proud to admit humans knew something we did not. Scholar Pixtel approached the platform, carrying data tablets. I have documented every human contribution during their 8 years with us. The list is long. Medical advances that saved billions of lives, engineering innovations that improved efficiency across all council systems, scientific breakthroughs that council researchers had not achieved in centuries, tactical doctrine that revolutionized space warfare. She activated a holographic display. Over 40% of what we called council innovations in those 8 years originated with humans. We stole their work. We claimed their discoveries. We took credit for their genius. And when they saved us from destruction, we responded with demands and threats. The chamber was silent. The evidence was overwhelming, undeniable. Vrenthal spoke, again, and the ancient being's voice carried a weight it had never had before. We failed them. We failed ourselves. We let arrogance and prejudice blind us to what was plainly visible. Humanity was not inferior to us. In many ways, they were superior. And instead of celebrating that, Instead of learning from them, we tried to keep them beneath us. The question now is what we do about it. We can continue as we are, declining slowly, losing ground to every challenge. Or we can attempt reconciliation. We can admit our mistakes honestly and completely. We can beg, if necessary, for a second chance. A vote was called. It was unanimous. The council would seek reconciliation. Crafting the message took 3 weeks. Every word was debated, revised, perfected. It could not be a simple apology. It had to be comprehensive, specific, honest. They listed every wrong, every theft, every dismissal, every moment of contempt. Speaker Vrental personally read the names of every human who had contributed to council prosperity and been denied recognition. The list took 2 hours. Dr. Minji Kang, whose plague cure saved millions. Engineer Bo-Ra Lim, whose jump drive innovations revolutionized travel. Admiral Dae-hyun Choi, whose tactics saved council worlds from destruction. On and on. The message included specific offers. Economic reparations for stolen intellectual property. Full voting rights on the council. Protection of human sovereignty. Guarantees of equal treatment. Everything they should have offered from the beginning. Speaker Vrental, Trade Minister Kelmora, General Kax-Thun, and Scholar Pixtel formed a delegation. They traveled to the edge of human space and sent a request for an audience. Then they waited. Inside human space, the message sparked fierce debate. Admiral Dae-hyun Choi argued for continued isolation. They will never truly change. This is desperation, not genuine understanding. We are thriving without them. Why risk going back? Dr. Minji Kang took a different view. I agree they hurt us. I agree they were wrong. But people are dying out there. People who had nothing to do with the council's mistakes. If we can help while protecting ourselves, should we not try? Engineer Bo-Ra Lim was cautious. If we return, it must be on our terms completely. No compromise on sovereignty. No sharing of technology without fair compensation. No allowing them to take credit for our work. They must earn trust, not receive it freely. President Tae-Yang Kim listened to all sides. Finally, she made her decision. We will meet with them once. We will hear what they have to say. We will set our terms clearly. If they accept without negotiation, we will consider limited cooperation. If they try to bargain or make excuses, we are done permanently. The council delegation waited at the human border for 3 months. They lived on a small station, sending daily requests for an audience. No demands, no threats, just patient requests and a willingness to wait as long as necessary. Finally, word came. 1 meeting. Neutral space station. Human terms only. The station was small, built specifically for this meeting. Ambassador Hyun-Woo Park led the human delegation. With him were Dr. Kang, Engineer Lim, and Admiral Choi, the 4 people who had suffered the most from council prejudice. Speaker Vrenthal entered first, the crystalline being looked different somehow, dimmer, older. The weight of 10 years of failure showed even in a form made of living crystal. Ambassador Park, Vrenthal began. Thank you for agreeing to meet. I know we do not deserve this chance. Hyun-Woo's face showed no emotion. You have 30 minutes to say whatever you came to say. Vrenthal began reading names. Every human who had contributed to council prosperity. Every innovation stolen. Every contribution dismissed. The apology was specific, detailed, complete. No excuses, no justifications, just acknowledgement of wrongdoing. When Vrenthal finished, Trade Minister Kelmora spoke. He described the economic reparations being offered. Compensation for every patent stolen, every discovery claimed, every contribution ignored. The numbers were staggering. General Kax-Thun offered military alliance, not as subordinates or auxiliaries, but as full partners. Human tactical doctrine would be credited properly. Human command would be respected equally. No demands, no restrictions, no fear. Scholar Pixtel presented a plan for genuine cultural exchange. joint research facilities where humans and council species would work as true equals, educational programs, technology sharing with fair compensation, everything that should have existed from the beginning. When they finished, Hyun-Woo Park looked at each of them in turn. Then he placed a document on the table. Here are our terms. Full human sovereignty, no council interference in human government or military, protection of human intellectual property with strong enforcement, 3 permanent seats on the council with veto power over discriminatory policies, full voting rights equal to the oldest member species, reparations as you described, paid in full before any cooperation begins, recognition and credit for all past human contributions, publicized across all council space. He paused. These terms are not negotiable. Accept them all without change, or this meeting is over. The council delegation looked at each other. Then Vrenthal spoke without hesitation. We accept. Every term. Without change. Without negotiation. Just like that? Admiral Choi asked, surprised despite himself. We have spent 10 years learning what your friendship was worth, Vrenthal said. These terms are more than fair. They are less than you deserve. We will not insult you by trying to bargain. Dr. Kang spoke for the first time. How do we know this is real? How do we know you will not fall back into old patterns once you have what you need from us? You do not know, Kelmora admitted. We can only show you through our actions over time. We can only hope that you give us the chance to prove we have learned. But I understand if you cannot. I stole credit for your cure. Thousands of my people died because of my pride. If you never forgive me, I will deserve it. There was real pain in the trade minister's voice, real regret. The human delegation felt it. Engineer Lim looked at the council representatives. You stole my life's work. You destroyed years of my research. You broke something in me that day. Why should I trust you now? You should not, General Caxthun said. Trust must be earned. We are asking only for the opportunity to begin earning it. If we fail, you can walk away again. And this time, it will be permanent. We understand that. Hyun-Woo Park stood and walked to the window. Outside, the stars shone in the darkness. Somewhere out there, people were suffering, dying from diseases humans could cure, failing to solve problems humans could fix, being attacked by enemies humans could defeat, and somewhere else, human colonies thrived. Human science advanced. Human civilization grew stronger every day. They did not need the council, but maybe, just maybe, they could choose to help anyway. Not from weakness, not from desperation, but from the same impulse that had driven them to join the council in the first place.